Hello and good morning. It is Wednesday, October 16th. Thank you guys for joining me this morning. And again, I forgot to turn on my stuff behind me. Yesterday, my lava lamp did like these weird long lines that are just really ugly. So hopefully, I don't know if y'all can see it, but yeah, I don't like it. It grosses me out. So it needs to do something else. Anyway, I hope everybody's having a good start to the day. Good morning, Amanda, Disney Nerd, Tash. Appreciate y'all joining me. So, because we only have an hour, we're going to jump right into it. Let me pull up my playlist. Ah! Dude! No! This little shit just pressed some keys on my keyboard. Yeah, you. Could you not do that? Could you? I'm trying to do stuff. Ma'am. Almost messed up everything. Jeez. She always jumps on the... Yeah, I'm going to have to shut my display because she's going to jump on it again. Come on. There we go. All right. Now it's all back up. Yeah, she does that every time. She'll jump on if I leave my computer open, she'll jump on it. Because my new computer, it does take 2 displays, but not the kind of displays I have. Needs to be a Thunderbolt, and mine are mini DisplayPort and HDMI, and yeah. So if I want to use 2 displays, I need to use the computer and the display I have, or buy all new displays, which I'm not doing. So I wish that, yeah, I bought something that I have to return too because stop jumping up on the desk. She almost knocked over my drink. What is wrong with you this morning? Kitten. Am I still okay? I need to turn down my light a little bit. Let's see. All right. There we go. That's better. Dude, chill. What's okay? Are you okay? What is up with you? I gave you breakfast this morning. What more do you need? Do you need love? Do you need love? Love. Ooh, ooh, ooh. She says I don't want that either. Ah. My cat's a menace. All right. Well, we are going to discuss the Menendez brothers. More Diddy lawsuits. Susan Smith, the missing woman in San Antonio, Susan Simpson, another domestic violence case coming out of Harris County, domestic violence homicide, I should say. The man that abandoned his dog in Florida hurricane has been arrested, and FEMA workers threatened during the recovery in North Carolina. Violence in Times Square, all sorts of stuff this morning. So buckle up, Buttercup. Here comes the shit show. So the Menendez brothers, they're holding a press conference, or they held a press conference, or they're holding one. They haven't held one yet. Yeah, okay. They're holding a press conference. Let's see. When is the press conference? Menendez press conference. Nearly 24 relatives will be part of that press conference today. It'll be today. Let's see. I don't know what time. It doesn't. I'll find it eventually. I won't be able to watch it regardless. I'll get the cliff notes later. So, uh, yeah, that's a lot. 24 relatives are calling for their release. Do you guys think that they'll end up getting released this year? I think so. I think that they're going to be released. I think that they've done supplies. So, yeah, I don't know that that's true, Disney nerd. There's so much misinformation that's going on because of this storm. The governors have come out and said a lot of the stuff that's coming out is not true. So you really have to take what you're seeing on social media with a grain of salt. Um, I don't know why they would take supplies away. That doesn't make sense. As when I worked during Hurricane Harvey, we ran a warehouse to send out supplies, and we didn't have any problems. But anyway, I think there's a lot of misinformation that's going around, and that's feeding a lot of the animosity. Social media is becoming really dangerous. Um, oh, and did you guys see the latest conspiracy theory on social media? Has nothing to do with weather. I'm totally off topic. The latest conspiracy theory is that lead paint was banned not because it has lead in it and it's toxic, but because it blocks like infrared rays or whatever. Because you know how you wear a lead uh, X-rays, like you wear a lead vest in X-rays. Um, so people are thinking that the government is banning lead paint because it's going to protect you. Yeah, I should make a conspiracy series. I kind of want to make another channel to discuss that kind of stuff because I want to leave the crime and that stuff different. Cults and conspiracies definitely interest me, and I can't wait for Steve and I to partner on that. So, for those of you that were not watching Steve's live last night. Him and I are going to do a dual stream discussing some cult stuff sometime soon. So that's fun. Anyway, all right, off to the Menendez brothers.
For with the Menendez brothers tomorrow.
I'm sure you guys can hear it. I can't hear it. Hold on. Hold, please.
And we begin at 4 with the Menendez brothers. Tomorrow, some 24 family members of them will plead for their release in downtown L.A. Good afternoon to you. I'm Robert Kovacic.
Now I'm Annabelle Sedano. The news comes as the L.A. District Attorney reviews a case in light of new evidence.
NBC4's Ted Chen live in our newsroom with a preview of just how things could play out tomorrow. Ted.
Robert, Annabelle, this is a display of unity. The family of Lyle and Eric Menendez hoping that the L.A. District Attorney will join them in pushing a judge towards setting the brothers free, with the case once again under a very big media spotlight. There's already a Netflix series, a documentary, and a social media movement, and now some 24 family members of Lyle and Eric Menendez are coming from across the country to bring even more attention to two brothers convicted of murdering their parents nearly 30 years ago.
They were so afraid.
In 2017, NBC4's Robert Kovacic spoke to 3 of the family members scheduled to speak out tomorrow, including the sister of Lyle and Eric's mother, Kitty. All 3 have stood behind the brothers' claim of self-defense after years of sexual abuse by their father, enabled by their mother.
What is so important that people understand is that they truly had, with every fiber of their being, the understanding that it was either they be killed or their parents be killed.
They believe that it's time. It's been 35 years.
Menendez attorney Mark Garagos told NBC4 the family hopes LA County District Attorney George Gascon will help push for the brothers' release. Gascon is looking at new evidence that includes a letter Eric allegedly wrote to a cousin about their father's abuse 9 months before the killings. But legal analyst Royal Oaks says the brothers may still have to show they were in imminent danger.
They crept up behind their parents and blew them away with shotguns. That doesn't mean that they were in fear for their lives at that moment.
Oak says another possibility is that the Menendezes will be resentenced based on the argument that they have been rehabilitated.
Do you forgive Lyle and Eric Menendez for what they did?
Yes, absolutely.
Tomorrow's press conference is scheduled to take place in front of the criminal courts building where Lyle and Eric were convicted 28 years ago. A hearing on their case is scheduled for November 29th. Now, live in the newsroom, I'm Ted Chen, NBC4 News. Robert, back to you.
Ted, thank you. And of course, NBC4 will be there for that news conference tomorrow. Meantime, our coverage of the Menendez brothers continues both on air and online. You can find more information about the district attorney's review and the history of this case right now on NBC LA.
What time is the press conference? Yeah, so yeah, that notification sound was not me. That was them. Like, excuse me, y'all are professionals. How do you all have a iPhone noise in it? Hello, Tokyo. So are you in Japan? Because you said it was 8 o'clock at night the other day where you are. Are you in Tokyo? I don't remember if you did say before. But anyway, I think regardless if you think that the brothers did it for money or, whatever, it's obvious that they were abused. And I think that they should be 35 years. There's people that have done much more horrific things that served less time. I think that they've served their time. They've proven that they can be productive members of society. They're both married. I think that they deserve to have a chance. And the fact that their whole family is supporting them and the sister, the niece, of the people that were murdered want them out. I think that says a lot. That speaks a lot. If they believe them. And there's just, yeah. Anyway. Hello. Thank you for joining me this morning. Oh, I missed yeah, I guess I didn't realize that you guys were talking about Disney in Japan because he's there. Yeah, I really wouldn't want to go to Japan. My roommate's daughter is obsessed with Japanese culture, and she loves Japanese culture. And we show her there's a bunch of YouTube channels where they don't talk. I love it. I love that they don't talk. I also love that they don't show me their face when they're eating. I hate that shit. Good morning, Jen. And they it just like they walk around and show you Japan and the travel, and like it has the closed captions. They don't say anything. I love it. It's perfect. But I really would love to go to Japan a lot. Kiddo's mom it does not want her to go to Japan, so we have to wait until she's 18. So 2 more years, and we want to take her to Japan. I'm saving up, so I'll need some tips on going to Japan, Tokyo. Anyway, so Diddy, more lawsuits. Is anybody surprised? I'm not surprised. Diddy, you suck. You are a monster and a predator, and I'm sure there will be hundreds more lawsuits coming out.
It's a party about unity and love and just celebration of life.
That's Combs in 2009 talking about his infamous white parties. Those parties under scrutiny today after 2 of the 6 new lawsuits accusing Combs of sexual assault allegedly occurred at white parties in both 1998 and in 2006.
This is the legendary white party. It's the real white party. The kids had like an hour left.
One male accuser who was 16 at the time took this photo with Combs at a white party in 1998, alleging the rapper told him to drop his pants and expose himself, and then molested him. NBC legal analyst Danny Cevallos explains.
He says that Sean Combs made promises and assurances to him like this is how you get into the business, and that the assault, the abuse, was simply a rite of passage.
Another male accuser who worked as a security guard at a white party in 2006 alleges Combs drugged his drink, pushed him into a van, and sexually assaulted him. The court filing included a photographic example of a container Combs allegedly used to spike drinks with GHB, better known as a date rape drug.
These new civil lawsuits are very significant because the criminal case and the civil cases may end up playing off of each other in terms of evidence.
Now, Diddy After Dark is a different party.
ABC's 2020 special, The Secret Life of Diddy, took a deep dive into what goes on behind closed doors at Combs' white parties.
We knew that there was an after party, and we heard that, those were much more devout.
Combs made some revealing comments about those parties on Late Night with Conan O'Brien.
A lot of ladies drink water at parties. They just, so if you don't have what they need, they're going to leave.
Right.
Got to keep them there.
Right.
You need locks on the doors.
The 6 new lawsuits are just a handful of the 120 victims represented by attorney Tony Busby, who says more lawsuits are expected.
A lot of the conduct alleged is violent. And threats were made. And I think, but for the fact that Sean Combs was arrested and bail denied, these people would not have come forward.
In response to these new allegations, Combs' legal team says, in court, the truth will prevail. Mr. Combs has never sexually assaulted anyone, adult or minor, man or woman.
Boo! Yeah, we don't like Diddy. I'm glad that he's finally getting called out and all this stuff is happening. And it all started with Cassie. Cassie, you brave, beautiful woman, you. So next, a woman that murdered her children that has also broken so many rules inside prison. Susan Smith killed her 2 sons 30 years ago, 1994. And it wasn't like some of the other women that have killed their children, like postpartum depression. Okay, I'm not saying it's okay to kill your children in postpartum depression, but it's a big difference when you have a mental break versus this. She wanted her kids dead because she wanted to be with a man. And then she's also been caught having sex with guards. She's been caught breaking a bunch of rules. And now she's been caught communicating with a filmmaker and profiting off of it, getting money from it, which you're big no, you're not supposed to do. And she wants to get paroled. Absolutely not. If anybody does not deserve parole and just rot in prison, it's her. Like, she deserves to stay in prison for the rest of her life. 1000%. Shame that it wasn't a death penalty case. Just gonna say that.
Tonight, new legal trouble for Susan Smith, the woman convicted almost 30 years ago of killing her children by driving them into a South Carolina lake. Now, there could be trouble for her efforts to get parole. Channel 9's Jonathan Lowe has the developments from today.
While in prison, Susan Smith has already been sanctioned for at least 3 instances of drug use and another for self-mutilation. But this latest internal incident is happening very close to a hearing to decide whether she deserves to be paroled. Susan Smith's case made national headlines in October of 1994.
I want to say to my baby, that your mama loves you so much.
Smith made up a story telling police a black man had carjacked her and stolen her car with her 2 little boys strapped in their car seats. A national manhunt ensued. Eventually, though, Smith confessed that she had driven the car into the lake herself. An investigation revealed she was having an affair with a man who made it clear to her he did not want children.
Susan Smith has been arrested and will be charged with 2 counts of murder.
Smith was sentenced to life in prison for killing her sons. And late today, we learned from the South Carolina Department of Corrections that Smith was convicted earlier this month in prison of, quote, communicating with a victim and or witness. Smith was engaging in telephone calls with the documentary filmmaker about her crimes. Quote, Smith agreed to provide the filmmaker with contact information for friends, family, and victims, including her former husband. The filmmaker also deposited money into Smith's account. In South Carolina, inmates are not allowed to do interviews on their phone or in person. They can write letters, but that's it. It's not clear how this conviction may impact Smith's parole chances, but during an ABC Nightline piece that was done before we learned of today's news, her chances already didn't sound optimistic.
From what we see of South Carolina so far in the year 2024, only 5% of people have been released on parole. So the chances of Susan Smith being released are that much smaller.
Now, Smith lost phone, tablet, and canteen privileges for 90 days. State officials say she is still eligible for parole on November 4th. It remains to be seen if this new disciplinary action plays a role in that eligibility. In the studio, Jonathan Lowe, Channel 9.
She doesn't deserve parole at all. Yeah, so it does get cold here. It's just hotter longer than it's cold. It'll be cold. January, February is our coldest months. I have seen snow, I don't know, 4 or 5 times since I've moved to Texas. And then, of course, we had the freeze, which was terrifying. So I do have some winter clothes, just not like an excessive amount. I have like, long johns and like things like that. It can get cold, like the Arctic whatever dips down lower than it did before. So yeah, Florida stays warmer than Texas, that's for damn sure. I thought they were the same. They're not. It's much drier here. Like, we haven't had rain in months. I have to use sprinklers on my damn lawn. The shit looks fucking terrible. Anyway, so yeah, Susan Smith definitely does not deserve parole at all whatsoever. I think that she needs to rot in prison. Absolutely. If anybody doesn't deserve it, she's definitely that person. So, Susan Simpson, they're still looking for Susan. Now they're having the San Antonio police cadets help with the search. They have come out and said that this is a recovery mission. So somehow they know that she is no longer alive and they're looking for her body, sadly.
The search to find Suzanne Simpson continued today. Early this morning, the Olmos Park police chief announced the search is now a recovery mission. Dozens of officers were helping sift through a landfill where the chief believes they'll find her. KENS 5's Sue Kalberg has been out there since early this morning. Sue.
Audrey, most of the hot, hard, dirty work that's been going on all day today has been taking place in that white pop-up tent that you see up the hill there. The work has been done by people who are just beginning their law enforcement careers. San Antonio police say when Olmos Park asked for help today, 25 cadets answered that call.
We've, explained that to them, kind of the purpose of what they're doing, and it's not lost on them what they're searching for.
SAPD Deputy Chief Jesse Salome said the hands-on experience is a valuable learning opportunity for the cadets, protecting and serving before they even earn a badge, trying to answer a heartbreaking question for 4 children and their family about missing mom, Suzanne Simpson, hoping they can make a difference.
I don't know that they're going to be out there past today or not. I think there's some, I think they're hopeful that maybe they're close to having a breakthrough in the case.
Salome said success for the cadets might be hard because finding what they're after could mean heartbreak.
We'll debrief with them afterwards. If anybody needs to talk about, what they did, what they saw, we've got a number of resources through our wellness unit. We've got cadet counselors that are assigned to them at the academy. We've got our site services unit that can also provide assistance to them as needed. They're obviously very young in their law enforcement career. So we're going to keep an eye on that, especially if they find something.
Now, we are hours into this effort, and just a few minutes ago, all those cadets came off of that hill. They are still, some of them are still in that tent over there. They just took off their protective gear. They left their boots behind. And except for a short break for lunch, this has been a 5-minute effort. Every 5 minutes, there was a new load to search. They said from the beginning that the search may continue until tomorrow, so we will be back with it when that resumes again. Live.
So I was looking for any updates. They are confident that they will find her in the landfill. So there's some information that we aren't getting, that they haven't said yet. The police chief already said, or the sheriff, no, it's the police chief, already came out and say this is a recovery mission. So there's some evidence. I hope for the family that they are able to recover so they're able to give her a proper burial and say their goodbyes. And sadly, another domestic violence homicide, this one coming out of Harris County. For those of you that don't know, Harris County is #1 in Texas for partner homicides. So domestic violent homicides are #1 in Harris County out of anywhere in Texas. This one is a very, very, they're all sad, but this one's extra sad. The woman was pregnant when he killed her. He strangled her and then called in her death as a suicide. This would have been their 3rd child. So there was 2 other children in the household when he did this.
The man accused of killing his pregnant wife in the Heights remains in jail tonight without bond.
Lee Gilley went before a judge today on the capital murder charge. Reporter Micah Hatfield joining us live right now from the Heights this afternoon. Michael, what have you learned in speaking with people about this case?
Hey, good afternoon, guys. We've spoken to a number of people in the Heights, and they told us they are stunned and heartbroken over the loss of this young woman, just 38 years old, and her unborn child. We even saw someone put flowers on their porch earlier today. The victim, in this case his husband, is now fighting to be released from jail. Saturday morning.
I'd like a bond today.
I understand that.
I'm not setting a bond today.
Lee Gilley pushed the magistrate in probable cause court for a bond. Now today, Monday morning, a judge declined to set bond for Gilley's capital murder charge as well. The district attorney's office has filed a notice requesting a hearing to hold Gilley without bond until he's indicted on the charge. He'll be back before a judge on Thursday to further discuss his bail.
Until then, he will be held without bond in the Harris County Jail.
Gilley is accused of strangling his wife, Krista Bauer Gilley, in their home on Alston in the Heights. The 38-year-old woman, a mother of 2 young children, was 9 weeks pregnant at the time of her death, according to court records. Police say Gilley called 911 late last Monday night and reported that she had attempted suicide by overdosing and said he was performing CPR. Bauer Gilley was taken to the hospital where she was pronounced dead, but doctors quickly noted that she had injuries to her body that were not consistent with a suicide attempt. Police say Gilley told them the couple had been arguing, and when he went to bed 3 hours later, he found her unresponsive. He admitted, according to court records, that she was not suicidal nor a drug user. Bauer Gilley's family issued a statement today saying in part, quote, Krista was an amazing mother, full of love and excited to welcome her 3rd child. They were taken from this world needlessly and way too early. Also, during Gilley's court hearing on Thursday, we're told a judge will decide if he's able to see the couple's 2 children. Tomorrow night, people in the Heights are going to be coming together to remember Krista Bauer Gilley at a vigil at 7 p.m. Live in the Heights, Micah Hatfield, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
No, he can't see his kids. Absolutely not. Honestly, I'm shocked that he didn't get bond because everybody gets bond in Harris County. I think he will eventually get a bond. It could be very high. Sometimes that does happen, especially the cases that, that have media attention. Those cases, then they typically have a higher bond. So he could get like a $2 million bond. I'm also surprised that they charged him with capital murder. You don't see that often, even though there's been so many where you can charge it. Good morning, Carrie. Yeah, and like if you didn't want another kid, there's ways to prevent that. I like that men sometimes blame women for getting pregnant, like they didn't have anything to do with it. Yeah, I've been listening to this cult podcast and like a few times, most of them want to have children, but like sometimes they get upset because a woman got pregnant. Like, do you not understand how this works? It's not like we're like, hey, body, get pregnant. It's not up to us, and you need the juice to, get pregnant. So I had shared a story of a dog that was tied to a fence in Florida during Hurricane Milton. The state troopers found the dog. It's a bull terrier or something. I don't remember. I just know it's the Spud Mackenzie dog, or the Target dog. Let me see. What kind of dog is it? Yeah, it's a bull terrier. Okay. So it's a bull terrier. Those typically are not very cheap dogs. And his excuse is that he was evacuating and had nowhere for the dog to go, that he was driving to Georgia. So instead of just releasing the dog, he tied the dog to a fence. And Governor DeSantis said, if we find this guy, he's going to be prosecuted to the fullest extent. Well, happy to report he has been caught, and here is the update to that story.
Well, he is the dog who stole the hearts of people across the country. And tonight we have an update on Trooper, who was found abandoned along I-75 in Hillsborough County. That was the day Hurricane Milton made landfall.
Fox 13's Ariel Placencia has more on the owner, who has now been identified and charged.
As Hurricane Milton was barreling toward our state, this dog was left to fend for itself in Hillsborough County.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Florida Highway Patrol troopers found the dog standing in water up to its chest after a Good Samaritan spotted the furry friend tied to a pole on I-75 near Bruce B. Downs Boulevard. Hillsborough State Attorney Susie Lopez says.
And so Trooper Morales rescued this dog,
whose name is now Trooper, which I think is just great. And this dog is now safe.
Lopez tells us 23-year-old Giovanni Aldama Garcia has now been charged with aggravated animal cruelty. She says Garcia told investigators he was driving to Georgia to escape the hurricane, but left his dog on the side of the road because he couldn't find anyone to pick the dog up.
He did admit to being the dog's owner and admitted to wanting to get rid of this dog and had been making efforts to get rid of this dog for several weeks or months even before the storm. And this was his way to do it.
In the days following the dog's rescue, rumors circulated on social media that Trooper had been returned to its owner. However, the Leon County Humane Society wrote on Facebook that that never happened. Instead, the dog Trooper was brought to their facility due to expected damage to Hillsborough County. Leon County staff wrote that since the Florida Highway Patrol trooper who brought the dog in was the same person who picked the dog back up to be transferred, that's why the dog was mistakenly listed as returned to owner. The original owner never came forward, they said. Since then, the Leon County Humane Society has received hundreds of inquiries about the dog. Meanwhile, Lopez says some crimes can be enhanced to more serious ones if they're committed during a state of emergency. Animal cruelty is not one of them.
It has not been enhanced because we don't have the ability to do that, but the folks in Tallahassee do.
In Tampa, Ariel Placencia, Fox 13 News.
Well, because of their actions, FHP just received the Compassionate Police Department Award from PETA. So well deserved. And we're certainly looking forward to the day that Trooper is adopted by his new loving family.
Yes. A dog's bark warning home.
I hope that that needs to change. It needs to be enhanced. That what a loser. Try to get rid of the dog for months. Nobody wanted that dog. I highly doubt that. Somebody would have wanted that dog. And he admitted it. He admitted he was the dog's owner. He's an idiot. But I guess we're lucky he's an idiot. I'm so glad that he's caught and being prosecuted. So this story, dogs are great. This is why everybody should have a dog. The dog in this home alerted the homeowners that there was somebody outside and somebody was in the house, and then the guy got out and tried to steal their car. So the dog alerted that there was an intruder, which that's what dogs are great for. My dog would do the same thing. She would definitely bark. And that's why I also have a sign on my door that says, "Do not knock, protective dog." I'm hoping that anybody that wants to steal something also sees that protective dog. You probably don't want to come in here.
A dog's bark warning homeowners to an intruder. The sheriff telling us that intruder tried to take off in the homeowner's truck after being found in their living room. KENS 5, Simone Simpson spoke to the sheriff in Atascosa County about the case.
Atascosa County homeowners took justice into their own hands after a man allegedly broke into their house. When the intruder was confronted by bullets, he surrendered. West of Jordanton, just after 1 a.m.
But you're supposed to be at home and nothing bad will happen, but here we go.
Atascosa County Sheriff David Soward recalls the scene when residents were woken up by their dogs, warning of an intruder.
The male resident looked into the living room, saw somebody in there, he grabbed a gun.
That's when the intruder allegedly tried to make a run for it, but not before the sheriff says he got in the resident's pickup truck and attempted to drive off. Soon after, bullets rang out.
He did fire a shot in the direction of the truck that was trying to leave his property.
39-year-old Alfredo Rodriguez got out of the truck with his hands up, surrendering.
And was put on the ground, and then deputies arrived and took him into custody.
Sheriff Soward says the homeowner had every right to protect his property. This situation could serve as a warning for other offenders.
You do that, you're taking a very good chance of getting yourself shot, especially in a rural county like Atascosa County.
Yep.
It was a good ending to what could have been a very bad situation.
Alfredo Rodriguez is facing burglary of habitation, a felony, and possession of controlled substance. Reporting from Atascosa County.
Where the hell is that? Is this Texas? Atascosa. Yeah, that's Texas. I mean, I assumed it was. Let's see, where is it? South Texas. Yeah, yeah. Definitely don't do that in Texas. Yeah, don't do that. The chances of you getting shot, especially in the South, are pretty damn high. So I have, I don't know if Jen is still here, but I have Canada in the news for once. I don't know if you guys heard what was going on between Canada and India. So they have both kicked out the diplomats. So India kicked out Canada's diplomats, Canada kicked out the Indian diplomats, but Canada kicked them out because they murdered somebody in Canada. Like, it wasn't just some petty thing. They murdered an activist in Canada. So yeah, shit even happens in Canada.
This morning, we're monitoring a major shakeup as Canada expels India's top diplomat. There's allegations he's the person of interest in the assassination of a Sikh activist there. Additionally, 5 other diplomats were expelled Monday as well. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said Canada was expelling the Indian High Commissioner and others, all persons of interest. Police say they've uncovered evidence of a worsening campaign against Canadian citizens by agents of the Indian government. Investigators did not release the details specifically about those crimes. Now, in retaliation, India's foreign ministry said it's expelling Canada's acting high commissioner and 5 other diplomats. India has rejected the accusations, calling them absurd.
Come on. Okay, good. It just didn't start playing. Wow. It normally does. I'm glad it didn't start playing. Yeah, so that's a little childish. You're going to kick out our diplomats. We're going to kick out yours. We didn't do anything. Okay. We're going to see how what information comes. There's rumors and whispers that Canada is about to go to war with India as India has begun planning strikes. Good luck with that, India. Who is Canada buddy with? The United States? I don't think that would end well. You don't pick on, that's like picking on Thor's brother, you know? Well, I don't know if Thor would defend Loki, maybe, but you know what I mean. Okay, maybe I should say, like picking on Steve Rogers. Captain America is going to come after you. Canada is Steve Rogers. Wait, Steve Rogers is Captain America. Who's his friend? Bucky. So it's like picking on Bucky. And then Captain America comes after you. Steve Rogers is Captain America. I'm awake, but I'm not that awake. So I don't know if you guys saw the news in California that there was a shooting at Santa Monica College. So the suspect took off and then there was a standoff and he actually got killed in the standoff. But I didn't even hear that there was a shooting until I went looking through the news. Can I hit play? Maybe. Is that possible? Yeah, okay. Maybe you can play. Perhaps. We're gonna go a little bit. You're gonna maybe? Yeah? You're gonna reload? Maybe if I do this? Oh, that's why. Stop your bullshit. It's self-harm. It does this. It's a news story. I hate when it does this.
Then we begin with breaking news out of El Segundo, where a suspect is dead after a standoff with police. And we're told this is all linked to last night's shooting at Santa Monica College.
We have team coverage with Gene Kang live in Santa Monica near campus. But we begin with Chris Wolf, who has the latest details from El Segundo. Chris.
That's right, Micah and Shara, as you said, breaking news. We are at the scene of a deadly encounter between police and a criminal suspect. This is Aviation Boulevard and El Segundo Boulevard in the city of El Segundo. I should note that the investigation is still in the early stages, but we will certainly tell you what we know, what we've learned. Take a look behind me. The scene is still very active, buzzing with law enforcement and emergency personnel. The Santa Monica Police Department is the lead agency here, although several are involved in the case, including Hawthorne Police, Culver City Police, and the CHP. Santa Monica Police say the activity and developments at this location are connected to the Santa Monica College shooting last night, which left the victim, reportedly a longtime employee of the school's Center for Media and Design, in critical condition. Investigators and witnesses describe that as a case of workplace violence involving co-workers. Let's take a look now at some footage from Sky 5 over this scene. We are anxiously awaiting more details about the suspect, the victim, their relationship, and circumstances surrounding that initial shooting, as well as a possible motive. In the meantime, preliminary information circulating from this scene in El Segundo is that Hawthorne Police attempted to stop a male driver identified as a suspect in last night's Santa Monica College shooting. Officers surrounded his vehicle and the suspect shot and killed himself. Several agencies arrived to assist in what they had hoped would be the apprehension of the suspect. But again, according to preliminary information, the man shot and killed himself. We are still awaiting official confirmation about that. Back here now, we will be following this breaking story throughout the night. We'll have much more in the next hour, and we will, of course, bring you all of the latest details as they become available. Reporting live in El Segundo, Chris Wolf, KTLA 5 News.
Thank you, Chris. One witness tells us the victim is a custodian who remains in critical condition.
KTLA 5's Jean Kang is live from Santa Monica with reaction. Jean?
Mike and Cher, police are telling us this is a shocking case of workplace violence. And as you heard from Chris Wolf there in El Segundo, this is the scene where that shooting happened. This is a satellite campus of Santa Monica College. As you mentioned, a witness has been telling us that the victim is a female custodian, a longtime employee here at Santa Monica College. Well, she currently is in critical condition at the hospital. This video shows the victim being placed into an ambulance by medics moments after the shooting. Police say gunfire erupted just before 10 last night at the Center for Media and Design on Stewart Street. The victim, believed to be a woman, was severely wounded. While the police department is leading this investigation, they believe this was an isolated event, posing no ongoing threat to the community.
Still on campus when the shooting was happening. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. It could have been one of us.
When I found out, when I got home, I was really shocked because I would think if there was a shooting, especially a shooter on campus, then they would evacuate us from the campus, which they didn't.
Out of caution, all Santa Monica College campuses are closed today. Some students say this is terrifying to hear and that they didn't receive any school text alerts or robocalls until roughly 3 hours after the incident.
What kind of person were they employing? I mean, it's kind of jarring knowing that somebody capable of that was on campus.
The president of the college says this: here at SMC, we frequently refer to each other as family. At this heartbreaking time, I urge us all to come together in kindness and compassion as we navigate this unspeakable tragedy. Students and staff have been told to please stay home today as the campus is closed. There are extra patrols here at all of the satellite campuses as well. Of course, everyone is now hoping for the best for that victim. Reporting live here in Santa Monica, Jean Kang.
So they both worked there? Let me see if I can find any more information. Shooting at Santa Monica College. Yeah, I'll look into that. I Googled it so I don't forget. So, FEMA workers being threatened in North Carolina. So the man accused of threatening the FEMA workers is speaking out.
Recovery efforts across Western North Carolina face new challenges with reports of threats against federal responders, including FEMA workers. Good evening and welcome to the Fox 8 News at 7. I'm Natalie Wilson.
And I'm Michael Hennessy. The Ashe County Sheriff's Office says while some of those threats may not have originated in Ashe or surrounding counties, they have led to adjustments in FEMA operations across the entire Western North Carolina region.
Fox 8's Elijah Skipper has more details on these safety concerns and how they're impacting relief efforts.
Rutherford County deputies arrested 44-year-old William Jacob Parsons of Bostic, North Carolina, and charged him with threatening FEMA workers in the Lake Lure, Chimney Rock area. We talked to Parsons, and he admits to being angry. He posted this on Facebook.
We the people are sick and tired of the BS. We the people are seeking volunteers to join us, overtake the FEMA site in Lake Lure and send the products up the mountains this Saturday. We the people are done playing games. It's time to show who we are and what we believe. They want to screw our citizens. Now we return the favor.
Parsons says he was so upset and went to Lake Lure to respond to what he says were social media reports that FEMA was withholding supplies.
I viewed it as if our people sitting here on American soil, they're refusing to aid our people on American soil. We were going to go up there and forcefully remove that fence.
Deputies got a report that a man with an assault rifle made comments about possibly harming FEMA workers. Once they got a description of the person, they went to arrest him. Deputies eventually caught up with Parsons, and he was found with a handgun and a rifle. Parsons says he was simply exercising his rights. He insists that the post was a call for action, not violence.
Then they want to sit here and lie, say that I'm carrying guns around. I had one gun on me, which was legally owned and seen on the side of my pocket, on my hip. And I had a rifle and another pistol that were in my vehicle that were both lawful and legal to own.
After driving to Lake Lure, Parsons says he didn't find FEMA withholding supplies, but it was too late. Law enforcement had been alerted.
Yeah, I went up there and I seen there was absolutely nothing there. And I stayed and I volunteered all day.
Parsons was arrested and charged with going armed to the terror of the public. He insists he was simply exercising his Second Amendment rights and the weapons were legally owned. Parsons was released on a $10,000 secured bond later that same day.
Yeah, and so this guy got arrested because of bullshit misinformation that's being spread on social media. There is so much misinformation being spread. I don't believe anything that I see if there's not proof. Like, show me proof. I don't believe people's just some random person on social media posting something. Because I also saw other people post about that dog being like, oh, the dog was returned to the owner, the dog escaped, the leash was caught on the fence. Like, where the fuck did you get that from? You just made that shit up. Like, why? People take great joy in that. And during election times, other countries get involved in our stuff. They make fake websites. There's bots. So, like, if you see something, even if it's a website, if it is some website that you have never heard of, check to see who owns the website. Check to see what country it's in. Because the Philippines has been proven to be spreading misinformation during election time. Russia, we really have to do our due diligence if we're going to use social media. I could post whatever I want and people are going to believe it. And that's terrifying that people believe things so easy. All right, so just a couple more videos left this morning. So our next video is going to be good old New York City. There has been a string of robberies and violent crime in Times Square, and these crimes are connected to younger migrant children that are in New York right now. So the police are ramping up what they're doing with this. They've been talking about it's tied to that Venezuelan gang and all that stuff. I don't know if that's true, but let's see what NYPD has to say.
The NYPD is investigating a string of armed robberies targeting people in Times Square. They say nearly 24 young immigrants are behind the brazen crime, some as young as 11 years old, and their ages, police say, allow these suspects to get away with it. They stay out of jail and then keep terrorizing New Yorkers and tourists alike. Eyewitness News reporter Lauren Glassberg live in Times Square with more on this story. Lauren.
Well, David, the NYPD says that this is really a gang of very young people, and they have committed some 50 robberies. Some of them are even armed robberies. And we understand that the police first targeted them in Central Park, but now they have targeted this area, Times Square, as their playground.
They're reckless and as ruthless of a crew as we've seen.
And they're young, some as young as 11 years old. Police say they first targeted Central Park this summer and now Times Square is their playground.
When you look at this core group of 20 individuals, this is their ground zero.
Assistant Chief of Detectives Jason Savino focuses on gangs, and this gang, he says, is made up of asylum seekers being housed at the Roosevelt Hotel. They're a subset of the gang Tren de Aragua and self-identify as Los Diablos, or the Little Devils of 42nd Street, and they even post about their crimes, which have escalated.
It started with snatches, and then you saw Wolfpack type robberies, where you'd see numerous individuals surrounding unsuspected tourists, frightening them, and then taking their properties. That graduated certainly into knives, and then ultimately, we even had gunpoint robberies committed by this young crew.
I'll just kind of be like this, holding more towards the front, almost like a baby.
Anastasia Tucker always stays vigilant when she walks through Times Square, and news of this gang will ensure she continues to do so.
I mean, as a New Yorker, you should be, just kind of comes with the territory. But I think more police on foot also helps a better presence.
A deterrent.
Yes.
Police say they are using drones, covert techniques, and uniformed officers to find these offenders. But the big appeal is to the judges.
The DA is making recommendations that just aren't adhered to. We have to look at our judges and make them more accountable.
Now, some of these gang members are here alone without parents, and the NYPD says most of them do come from Venezuela. Police say part of their initiation into this gang involves being dared to commit crimes, and if they don't commit the crime, they are forced to lick the floor of a subway. Obviously, none of those are really good options. Fortunately, the NYPD says the crime has ticked down in the last 2 weeks. That's a trend they hope continues. Live in Times Square, Lauren Glass.
Lick the floor of a subway if they don't do it. I guess that's pretty bad, but I mean, it could be worse. I mean, if you lick the floor of a subway, you will probably either die or create the zombie virus. Yeah, I mean, we got to do something. Like, this shit's becoming a problem all over. Everywhere seems to have influx of crime with these kids and gang. They're all over the place. It's like the MS-13 panic a few years ago. Because like some of it, I'm like, you guys are blowing it out of proportion. But obviously that photo especially is proof they're a gang of some sort. But nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change. It's just going to keep happening, especially when they're so young. They're just going to get released and back out on the streets. Nothing's going to change. I wish it would. Because they do a crime, they get arrested, they get right back out, and they just keep doing it. So I saw this news report the other day that criminals don't care about cameras. Why would they? Because nothing happens. Yeah, police experts say that criminals just don't care anymore. Yeah, no shit. Why would they? Let me see. Let me show you this story. Because, yeah, we know they don't care because nothing happens. You get arrested, you get right back out. We've fallen too far over to one side. The 90s was harsh crime punishment, and now we did too much then, so we tried to fix it, and now we've swung too far that way. We need to be somewhere in the middle. All right, let's see this.
You're telling me for 40 years this stuff's so good a human can eat it?
So good a human can eat it?
Ain't no way.
Ain't no way.
Fox 45 News has been investigating gaps in GPS monitoring for juvenile offenders for months now. At least 2 juvenile suspects in the Brooklyn Day mass shooting, a 14-year-old and 18-year-old Tristan Jackson, were reportedly wearing ankle monitors and under DJS supervision. Under a new DJS policy, young people accused of a violent felony but not detained will be monitored electronically. So if they're accused of committing another violent felony while wearing the ankle monitor, they'll be detained. But some worry that's not enough.
They can go out, they can do whatever they want, behave any kind of way, and maybe they'll get a stern talking to for 10 or 15 minutes. That's not going to teach them anything.
In Baltimore City, surveillance video has captured several recent violent incidents, leading to some community concern surrounding safety and juvenile accountability. The examples are endless, and so is the frustration. Crimes of violence caught on camera, often at the hands of juveniles.
We are now living in a society where the lives of others are not particularly valued, and you combine that with young people who believe that only they matter.
Just last month, video caught the moment two teenagers assaulted and robbed a 66-year-old man near Patterson Park. The suspects kick him to the ground and leave him in the middle of the street.
Actually, I didn't hear anything. They were very, very quiet, almost like they snuck up on me. But I could feel their presence.
It's similar to this case, also caught on surveillance camera, a Baltimore woman assaulted and robbed by two juveniles, the youngest just 12 years old.
He tackled me and then punched me in the head, and I got kicked. I was afraid I was going to get shot because you just don't know, you know?
And this video surveillance obtained by Fox 45 shows three juveniles younger than 10 attempting to steal a vehicle in Northeast Baltimore.
I would like to speak to a parent. Like, where's your guardian?
As someone who was a police officer for 29 years.
Betsy Smith with the National Police Association says criminals don't care anymore if they're caught on camera because there's simply no accountability.
This is really an unfortunate trend that has continued into 2024. And I think we need to understand that as a society, what we are seeing is the result of not punishing, not prosecuting criminals to the fullest extent of the law.
Smith says even criminals once had a code of conduct. Mothers, children, the elderly off limits, but not anymore.
They don't care that it's wrong to harass a young mother with a baby in a stroller.
Lydia Green says she was out for a walk with her 11-month-old daughter when juveniles took aim at her baby.
They were threatening, harassing her, and said, you know, you're lucky we don't snap your baby's neck, and a bunch of other things.
She ran inside a restaurant hoping to get help, but the young people followed her. And this doorbell video captured a driver and passenger hanging out their window Wednesday, shooting at a car behind them. Seconds later, the passenger is seen getting out and firing more shots.
These many brazen crimes that you are seeing in the greater Baltimore area, as well as throughout the United States, is because we are no longer punishing aberrant behavior in the manner that our criminal justice system allows. And so criminals just don't really care.
Especially when it comes to young people.
Juvenile offenders know that they are going to be treated differently.
Yep, and that's all over the country, sadly. All over the country. These kids know not a goddamn thing is going to happen to them. They know now is the time to do crime, and it's really sad to see. Yeah, crimes doesn't deter anything. Well, crime has gone up since the pandemic. So it spiked after the pandemic and it started to go down, but it's gone down from that spike. So it's still higher from what it was prior to the pandemic. And I don't know, people are just so angry. People are so angry. They just don't care anymore. And I don't know what's going on with children. I don't know if it's social media, mental health issues, or whatever, but we got to do something. But we won't. Nothing will change. It doesn't seem like we can fix anything. We would have to revamp the entire criminal justice system. All right, so I got two more stories, and then I got to start getting ready for work. So let's see. Next story. So where is this? Where is this next story? This next story is in Ohio. Ohio, here again.
Well, new video captures the moments an Ohio police officer is attacked by a suspect on the run.
There's a catch to this. Get ready. Here we go. It's Bay Village. And this is where officers were called out for a runaway inflatable pumpkin. By the time they found it, this gigantic Halloween display rolling across the street, and the officer who spotted it got out of his car to try to grab it, but instead, the inflatable, look, rolled right on top of him.
That is huge. But with some backup, officers were able to roll the pumpkin off the street and return it to its patch. The police department says, quote, luckily, no officers or pumpkins were harmed during the event.
That is the great pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Look out. There it is.
Wow.
Wow.
It's really big.
House. Look at that. Yeah, that's a road hazard.
Yeah, that's really lucky that didn't pop.
That's a big ass pumpkin. I've been looking at some inflatable stuff to put in my yard. Walmart has like $16 inflatable stuff. And since I apparently lost some of my Halloween decorations, like I got it and I took it out to show my roommate and his daughter. And I have no idea where the fuck I put it. I can't find it. Like, I still have no idea where it is. And the ironic thing is that it's ghost. So my ghost decoration disappeared. All right. So one last story. And of course, the last story is going to be...
How about a...
But not domestic animals. It is going to be pandas. Who doesn't love pandas?
How about a story that will be easy to bear? 2 giant pandas from China have touched ground in America, bound for the Smithsonian National Zoo in Washington, D.C.
Hooray. So these pandas bring the U.S. and China together through Beijing's decades-long conservation project. It comes at a time of shaky relations between the two nations over technology and geopolitics. A FedEx cargo jet nicknamed the Panda Express carried Qingbao and Baoli through the long journey. This is the first time in 24 years a new set of pandas has been sent to Washington. The pair that was previously at the Smithsonian was returned to China almost a year ago. Now, panda lovers can once again give the cuddly bears a visit for the next 10 years when the loan expires. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Who doesn't love a panda? My gosh, they just look so fluffy and
They're
cute.
fluffy and
Yeah.
cute, but just don't get too close.
Yeah.
You're gonna meet.
Look at that. Is that bamboo leaves?
Yeah.
Hey, God. Too big.
I think anytime they get, probably not, but I still wouldn't want to get too close.
Just like it's not like a lion's den versus.
Yeah, exactly.
Like bees don't, they won't bother you if you don't bother them.
Yeah,
This
but
is your dance space. This is my dance space.
Yeah.
But it
Stay over
still
there.
can be. I mean, other cages, like if you see a lion's den, it's gonna go.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true. They like being out in the sun.
Yeah, beautiful weather for sure for these guys.
That's right. We hit 100 today. That was a record high, but then by tomorrow, we're going to see temperatures struggle to hit 71, struggle to hit 75 on Thursday. Look at those lows, upper 30s, lower 40s. Fall is here starting tomorrow morning.
Yay, that's great. You won't have to sweat out there in the heat anymore, guys. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to check out Fox 44 News.
Who doesn't love cute pandas? I love pandas. I love animals in general. All right, guys. So we went over a bunch of stuff this morning. I am looking forward to seeing what the Menendez press conference says later today. If anybody finds what time it is or finds a link or something, show me on Twitter, please. Tag me on it on Twitter so I can watch it later. I appreciate you all being here this morning. Yeah. And so, like, talking about politicians and laws, I was involved in the last legislation session in Texas, and it was a huge pain in the ass to get a law passed. And there was multiple laws that were pro-victim and couldn't get those laws passed. And we had to fight to get the law passed so murder victims' families have access to evidence before trial, so it's not a shock. You would think that would have been easy to get passed, but we had opposition that was too much of a coward to say it publicly, and that was a whole fight and ridiculousness. And yeah, Anyway, and I could go on a whole rant for that, but I have to get ready to go to work and sit in an office, which I'm still getting used to. Worked from home the last 7 years, but it's not so bad. It's not bad. I don't mind it. I just can't take a nap in the middle of the day. Well, I love you all. I hope everybody has a beautiful day, and I hope I will see you again tomorrow morning. I appreciate your support. Make sure that you're following me on Twitter. Make sure you're following me on Kick. I do some streams on Kick too, because Kick I can show things that I can't show here. And hopefully I don't get in trouble on YouTube for that video of the poor senior citizen getting kicked in the head. Anyway. Love you all. Have a beautiful hump day. See you all next time. Bye.